Greetings and salutations. So we're back here in Empyrion, and this is another bad idea. And so I've done the video in the past, and I use certain terminology, and I think because I use certain keywords, people interpreted what I was saying as something else. So I'm going to make sure not to use those particular keywords. So this is an idea. This is an idea that I have, and I'm going to use this light right here as kind of an asset idea. And so let's say this light was a viewpoint, right? A viewpoint, view anchor point. There we go. So I'm in the ship. Right, well, let me find the cockpit on this thing. Where's it at? It's up here in the front, right? Right here. Okay, I'm in the ship. Okay, get in the cockpit, and the issue that you have is this is a relatively large ship, and so let's say you're trying to land, and you want to see the underbelly, and you're trying to land. You're like, oh, I can't get the to land right. I'm stuck on the landing gear isn't going down because you would see the little landing gear icon in the bottom left corner. You're like, what's going on with this stupid thing? And you're like doing the footsie dance, and you're like, man, what's going on? And you're trying to figure out this, you especially with the larger ships, you go through this a lot, and you do this whole song and dance for a couple of minutes, and then you're like, I got to see what's going on. You get out of your chair. I know I'm kind of making this a little melodramatic, and you're like, what the deal, what's the deal? Oh, you're like, what, the landing gear's down, I don't get it, right? But it never snatched, it never, and maybe the guns are interfering, who knows, right? But there could be a workaround, right? There could be a workaround to this problem, and let's say if I have my little light, but it could be an anchored viewpoint, right? And so let's say I put my anchored viewpoint right here, right? And then I could go in here and I could hit P, and this of course it's not going to be a light. It's going to be an icon, that represents a view, an icon that kind of represents a certain thing. And I could go in here to signal logistics, and I could select viewpoint. It doesn't. This is not here, obviously, but I could go viewpoint 1, viewpoint 2, viewpoint 3, and I could set it up the same way. And so when I'm in the chair up here, right? When I'm in the chair up here, and I'm sitting in the and I can't figure out why this thing won't latch down. Okay, and then I could cycle hit V, right? So I have my cockpit view, I have my third person view. But if I set it, let's say I put it to viewpoint 3, the third time I hit the V, it would automatically go to that viewpoint underneath the ship. It would just look down, and so basically they're anchored viewpoints. And let's say if I get an F and I go out of here, and I go, let's say I wanted one to where if I put it on the side of the ship, right, it would give me this viewpoint. So when I hit V again, let me get lined up here, right, it would give me this viewpoint. It would just look right here. This is what I would see when I hit V 4 times in a row, and it would just cycle through these different views. So if I hit it again, right, if I was in the cockpit, I would get the right view. Let me get back in the cockpit. So I'm in here because you don't have any visibility, right? You don't have any. But if I hit V 4 times, it would basically give me. Let me see if I can rotate this camera around. And that's the problem when you're flying. So I can't quite get that view because it wants to center to my location. And so when you're flying and you're doing combat, you don't necessarily need to try to do all these additional controls, but it basically give you kind of this. You'd have your speed and all your metrics up on display. You'd have your HUD, but it would be tied or anchored to that viewpoint on the right there. And so you could basically set up 10 or 15 different viewpoints, and you could just hit you could hotkey them however you wanted. And let me see to get this thing zoomed out. I've kind of gotten right because this ship is so large. You kind of have to kind of have to fly it, right? So, but now I can look where I want to go, but then I've lost control of the. I got to hit shift again. So there we go. I had to tab through the V to get it back, and I just ran out of fuel. But you get the idea. So it's basically anchored viewpoints. That's what it is. It's a way to kind of make your ship more immersive based off of the environment that you're in, and I think it adds for a lot more immersive playability and game controls, and kind of build to a certain spec. I think it would add a significant game improvement, especially in that PvE PvP combat realm. If you could have a rear viewpoint, so if that light was right here, I put this on the back of the ship right here, and right there, boom, right, and it would give me that view right there, that perfect view when I press that key, and I know this is doable. It just takes a little bit of time to get those hotkeys and that script worked out to where you're just changing viewpoints based off of the asset that you assign. It would be a special asset for viewpoints. I'm not saying the name. Because as soon as I say the name, people automatically dump all intelligence and immediately go to, well, that creates a lot of lag. And that, if you just keep it to viewpoints, native views, it doesn't create any additional lag, because views exist naturally natively in the game. You look around. So if I see if I can zoom out. Can you not zoom out in first person view? I guess not. But anyways, you get the idea. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for your feedback. Criticism is always welcome. Have a good day.